Hi everyone! Welcome to another video about my coloring book collection, but this video I will be doing with quite heavy feelings, with mixed feelings so to say, because this video will be about books where I hadn't started to color or where I just did one page and then abandoned it. And strange thing is that in this selection of books I have a lot of amazing books which I consider the most beautiful ones in my collection, but still I hadn't started to color in them. It's not that I worry a lot about it. I know that I have a lot of books, but also I color a lot. So sooner or later I promise that I will start them all. And besides, they simply make me happy because I love to use them as artworks, to admire pictures, even without adding colors, but still I would like to start them and to do at least one page. So let's start. For many of the books I don't know reason why I hadn't started, but for some of them I know where is my problem. Let's start with this one. It's a book about Sherlock and I purchased it very earlier, 4 years ago, when I just started to color. I was very happy to find at least something in our Ukrainian bookshops, so book is printed in Ukraine, but very quickly I realized that I don't have any idea how to color in this book properly. The biggest problem is excessive amount of black lines, especially on the portraits. I don't like to color such images even now. It's very difficult to deal with all these lines. For me they are not helpful. I know that they try to show where highlighted and shadow areas, but these very thick, very contrast black lines, for me it's very ugly. So even now I don't have any idea how to color, probably with some mixed media, but 4 years ago I was totally terrified. I do love this series, I didn't want to mess up with images, I do love composition of pages, selection of scenes, and I do love actors from the TV series, so I wanted to color them, but I realized that I needed to use watercolors for the backgrounds, for the underpaint, and paper wasn't good for watercolors. Here I started to use it. I realized that paper, it's not very thin, so for pencils it would be good, but I definitely don't want to color such a huge spreads with watercolors. So I abandoned this book after just one first page. Now, when I am much better equipped with art supplies, now I have opaque paints like acrylic, like gouache, like Neocolor crayons. Now I have a lot of paints or markers which I can use for masking black lines. I think that it's time to do something in this book, because I still love the idea, I love the theme of the book, but it's a pity that it's quite difficult to color, and instead of thinking about which colors I can use, I will be thinking about how to mask all those ugly black lines. Other book which I have here is my second purchase book. Actually, I purchased it together with my first one. You know, that book about Paris where I started to color by Issa Cho, and in the same moment I purchased this one. It has this strange travel palette like dried watercolors. It also had brush here, so it was possible to color immediately. But I really loved these pictures. Everything is printed on a very thick cardstock, so it will be perfect for watercolors. And at that moment I realized that my watercolor skills, they are totally don't match the beauty of this book. Now I think that I can try, but sometimes I think that pictures are so beautiful that why I need to mess up with this book by adding colors. They are indeed very beautiful in black and white. Honestly, I don't have any particular plans for now for this book. I am simply happy to have it. Next, I have a bunch of books which at least I can explain why I hadn't colored yet, because I just got them recently during the last couple of months. Of course, I have this Beauty by Thomas Kinkade. Book is amazing, and I hope that now, after I got my set of Artisa gouache, which I purchased specially for these pictures, to be able to mask against some of the black lines and to get a result as close to the original as possible. I hope that finally I will start coloring in it. The same thing goes for the Mermaids. I already selected picture, I already prepared pencils for the pictures, so I hope that very quickly I will change that this book will be actively in my work. The same thing goes to these beautiful books which I recently showed you, and I made flip through for these books. They are amazing, but I just got them in the end of December. From the same series I also have these Wizards, again by Martin Noble. They are very nice, and in the very beginning I also thought that book is for children, but I do love these pictures, and I love that here we have a lot of male wizards, and look at these beautiful pictures. I have a full flip through of the book on my channel, and again I think that it's time to start coloring in it. At least with this book I don't have any inner problems about selection of medium which I would like to use for coloring, so it's just a question of time. Next I have another book by Selena Fenech, this beautiful Mermaids book. I know that I promised to do a flip through of it, and I will film it in a day or two. Next book by Tabitha Ladin, and several books by Creative Heaven. Again, all of them I got just during the last couple of months, so I simply didn't have time for them. The whole December was dedicated to winter pictures or to filming my book collection, so my time for coloring was very limited. Now let's move to the books where I also know where is my problem. Just let me move everything from my table. Next, I have several huge books. I purchased Floribunda by Leila Dewley, and I promised myself that I won't start coloring in it until I will finish the whole flower year. And as I can't finish flower year because I have several pictures which are not very inspiring for me, subsequently I can't start Floribunda. Designs are amazing, quality are amazing, and I know that I will start coloring it. I just need some push. Maybe when spring will start, I also will start color in this book. At least I am glad that I purchased it. I don't know if it's still available, but I am glad that I have it in my collection. The next huge book is Dragoness by John Hough, and usually I purchase Pictura in smaller size, but this book as a special edition I purchased because it has the biggest amount of pictures by John Hough. It included several additional pictures comparing to the smaller size, and I am totally in love with John Hough's style. Starting from his works for Hobbit, for the movies by Peter Jackson. Then I also have his illustrations to the Lord of the Rings, so I do love his art, and I wanted to have his coloring book with full set of illustrations. Again, I don't know why I hadn't started. Here it's easy to color because paper is great for watercolors and everything is totally for my taste. Again, it's only question with time, but at least I don't have any inner blocks about starting coloring in this book. I love that everything is printed more in gray than in contrast black, and even if on some of the pictures we have frightening amount of small elements, still, as it's possible to color with watercolors, I'm sure that I will be able to select pictures which I do want to color, and I will be able to start coloring in it. Well, next I have two real gemstones in my collection. I'm so happy that I have books by Nicholas Filbert, and I never dreamed that I will be able to get them. So when I received this present, I can't say how happy I was. I was crazy. I showed them to everyone. We admired the artwork, and I selected pictures which I wanted to do in both books, but again I was intimidated, probably because I wasn't confident in my skills, how to color faces. But now I think that maybe it's time to start. At least for Serena's I feel a little bit more confident because, I don't know, maybe because of the quality of the paper. Irene are very beautiful, and I would say that subjects of pictures and even composition of pictures I do love a little bit more, but they are so beautiful by themselves and with more heavier shading. So again, I use this as an artwork, as an art book. I admire art, and I'm not sure that I will be able to add color without spoiling the whole effect of these beautiful images. But I am crazy happy that I do have these books. Well, the next book, it's not huge, it's small, but I already told you about my problems with Rita Berman style. When I got this book, I love it, it was very cute, but I wasn't able to start coloring. I wasn't sure which medium to select, how to do better works, and I think that honestly I was even a little bit intimidated because I visited profile of Rita on Instagram, and she's such an amazing colorist. I would say that she is the best colorist for her own pictures, and it's a level of art which I won't be able to achieve at any moment. It's just not my style, but in the same time I admire it, and probably that was my problem. Now when I started to color smaller images, miniatures by Rita, I started to get better ideas how to color. So maybe when we again will have full time, maybe I will be able to start coloring in this book because it's cute. It's just my inner problem with the style. Well, what do we have next? Next, we have this series of pictures. Again, I am crazy in love with the black and white designs. I love subjects. Again, you know that I love knights, castles, princesses, medieval Sam, everything I have here. And I do love quality. I even started to do one page here. Here I don't have any explanation of why I didn't proceed with this page. I do love how I started to do it with watercolor background very lightly, and watercolor worked very well on this very sturdy cardstock. Then I added pencils for the main characters. So don't ask me why, I simply stopped to color it, even if I love this beginning. I simply was distracted and never found time to return to this book. Next again I have books by Jasmine Beckett Griffiths. And you know that she's one of my favorite artists, and I never had problems with her pictures. But Halloween I got only in December. Well, Mermaids and Alice I got this summer, and I hadn't started to color in them yet. Again, I don't know why. In Mermaids I already selected pictures which I want to do. My favorites are all pictures with this beautiful, like this one with Poisson volant. I do love them, and I know that in this book I can color them in various colors. So I selected pictures which I wanted to do, but simply hadn't started to color. And probably this fact really upset me. I think that it's time to move everything from my table again, because I have another huge pile of unstarted books. My next huge books, where my main problem again is the size of the books, are books by Katarina Barbarikina. They are very beautiful. I love both books, and idea of various costumes from various cultures and this Victorian style ladies. But again, I am not confident that I will be able to do background with watercolors in such size, and then to color lady with pencils. As faces here are quite big, I can't say that I feel confident how to color them. Maybe I need to start from something smaller, where at least we have smaller face and bigger amount of details around, and it will be my start for these books. Well, next I have a book by Anne Stokes. I got it together with set of postcards, and somehow I started to color postcards which have some of the same images as we have in this book, and then I didn't proceed to color in the book. I love Anne Stokes' art, and many of pictures are really good. The only problem is that it's not very easy to lay the book flat, so it's a little bit frustrating when I start to film. It's always bother me that I have to push when I tried to start coloring in this book. Maybe I will find some solution, because pictures are really good. Some of them are more complicated, some of them are easier to do and quicker to do. So again, I don't have any explanations. I think that I love 80% or maybe 90% of these pictures, and apart from this ornaments or this wallpaper designs, I would love to color everything. This one I did in smaller size on postcards, and probably in smaller size it will be definitely easier for me to start coloring in this book. Another amazing couple of books I have here. I can't say that I have them for a long time. Probably I got them in the beginning of this fall, so not so far, and I do have plans for it. I hope that in January I will be able to start one of the two pictures. I want to start either this one, for me it's a little bit easier, or maybe this one, for me it's a little bit intimidating. I waited to start coloring because I didn't want to mess up the art, so I had to find time and I scanned these pictures for myself. Now when I have them also in PDF format for myself to practice or to print if I won't be happy with the result in the book, finally I feel more confident and finally I am ready to start coloring. So I hope that in January you will see a work from Legend Nouveau. Another book where I also want to do a picture in January or February is this book by Jade Summer. It's Art Nouveau, but I wouldn't say that pictures are exactly in Art Nouveau style. For me they are simply fantasy pictures, but they are beautiful. And I even selected page which I want to do. It can be connected with a winter theme. My only problem is that again I don't selected my what medium I want to use here. I still have some problems with this paper. For me, this black paint on the back, it's a little bit visible through the paper, and paper looks a little bit grayish. Not so much in my first book about Norse mythology, but here I can't say that I'm really happy with this. Maybe I will start to color in it with pencils only, or maybe I will start to color with my new alcohol-based markers, because my previous experience when I used alcohol-based markers in huge thick fantasy book with dragons and vampires by Jade Summer, I really loved how markers behaved on this paper, and maybe it will be my solution and also a nice hint, nice moment to start using my new set of markers. Next, I have Beauties by Zan Von Zed. I love his style. I would say that he is quite unique, and I love that on many images we can clearly see a medieval or a Renaissance style features, so it was influenced by this style. Some of them are really nice. Sometimes I'm a little bit preoccupied about composition of the page. Sometimes for me they look a little bit unfinished, and I haven't made my final decision how to color them, to make a frame around or create soft background with soft pastels. So probably again I'm not sure which mediums I want to use here. But again, I'm happy that I managed to got this issue of Coloring Heaven and that it was by Zan Von Zed. Ladies are very interesting, unusual but beautiful. Next, another one, unexplainably, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I can't explain why I hadn't colored in Soulmates. When I got it, and I got nice edition by Mass. It's a Dutch edition with a very thick paper. I was sure that for me it's the best book by Hannah, that I will be doing from the first until the last page, and I really was in love. But then I started one page. I was totally discouraged because I don't do that much unhappy starts in Hannah's books, but here I managed to do something very strange. I know that I will be able to correct it. I simply need one layer of opaque paint, and then I will be able to start from the very beginning. But somehow it discouraged me. Or maybe another reason was that at that moment everyone was colored in Soulmates, was coloring in Soulmates. So I colored it with my eyes. I saw so many beautiful images on Facebook groups that I lost my own desire to color. Now, when it's less popular and everyone colors in Masquerade, I think that maybe it's time, but somehow I think that I will start to color in Masquerade earlier. At least here I already selected pictures, I started to select colors for them, and as it's smaller amount of people also color in this book, I feel myself more free to start doing something here. And finally, books which I really ashamed to show because I wanted them so much, and I even almost started to color in them couple of times. I prepared colors, I was thinking about palettes, mediums. I planned to coloring with watercolors, but then I chickened and I was afraid to start. Well, I definitely need some courage. This one is quite unusual. It's a unique book in style, at least in my collection, but many of the pictures, they are amazing. You can see here a picture which I selected as my start, and I still have my ideas about colors, but I would like to color this book not in my style when I use huge amount of colors and everything is too bright, not matching the style of this beauty. I would like to be closer to these original paintings, and for this I think that I need to think more carefully about color selection, or maybe about mediums which I can be using, something more muted, some calm colors or even dark colors. So for me it's definitely not very usual coloring. I need to find courage to step out of my comfort zone. Book is amazing, and believe me, I tried to start coloring in it 100 times, but still it's empty. And another beauty is this one. I am so intimidated by the beauty of these designs. Here I would say that probably it's easier to color because we have some various pictures. Some of them are grayscale, some of them are line art, many of them have botanical elements and not so big faces, so it's not so difficult to start. It's even similar to the Anastasia Koldereva style, where I can color some portraits, but still I can't explain. This one was image which I wanted to color as my start. Again, I want to color here using limited amount of colors, muted colors, so to be not in my usual style, and probably that's my problem for this book. Honestly, I was extremely disappointed when I didn't find time in December to do this beautiful spread. I planned it for a long time, but in December I was quite tired, and when I colored I didn't felt quite creative. I felt more toward coloring very simplified pictures, like pictures in Tatiana Bogema, where I don't have to be attentive, where I don't have to be creative, where I just can play with simple shapes, simple images, simple colors. Here I have to think quite hard if I want to do the desired effect image which I plan in my head. And here I plan to use mixed media. Well, maybe I will do it still during this winter when I feel more relaxed, less tired. I hope that I won't be putting this book back on the shelf where it stood as a gemstone, as a jewelry from my collection, but maybe I will try to put it somewhere closer that I will be able to start coloring. Maybe as a beginning I can simply copy something from the first part of this book, and in such way to start feeling paper, feeling the artist style. So again, I need to think how to finally start coloring in this book. Well, as I said, I have quite mixed feelings about this video. On the one side, I am happy because these books, they are precious for me, I love them, and they really made me happy, even when I just look at their pictures. But on the other side, many of them were your presents, and I feel like I am disappointing you that I hadn't started to color in them. But believe me, I really appreciate your gifts, and as I said, they made me very happy. I hope that this year, when I feel more confident, when I have bigger amount of art supplies, finally I will be able to start at least some of these books, and in the end of this new year, my video about my untouched books will be very short, just for 5 minutes. So, I hope that you will be kind for me. Thanks for watching, and until the next videos.